Hello. Hopefully the music, you enjoy the music. Today is another day. I'm bringing another show and we are going to discuss something very important that I think is useful um, for both the people on the diaspora and the people back home. Today I'm going to talk about, as my title either says, like the things that diaspora hates, but they will not tell you about it. They hate it, but they will not say. So basically, they hate it silently. Silently, they hate it. And we are going to look at those things. What are those things that diaspora, the people in the diaspora, again, when I say diaspora, it could be in America, it could be in South America, it could be Australia, it could be Europe, it could be, name it, China. Those are the people I'm talking about. They could be just outside the country. Maybe they are within Africa, but they're outside the country they were born. So they moved there either for work or for school or for something. But they are just outside the country. Because there's this notion whereby if somebody is outside the country, it's a definition of success. Oh yeah, they're in America, they're in Australia, they're in South Africa, or they work in Nigeria, they work in the Congo, or they're in Belgium. Those conversations. So what is it exactly that the people in the diaspora hate that they don't tell people back at home? We are going to look at those things. And I have quite a number of them, at least more than 7. So we'll jump in and start from the very beginning. And the first one in my list is being online. Either you're online on Facebook, you're online on WhatsApp. There's a tendency whereby a lot of diaspora feel like the moment they are online, and that icon just says online, immediately you have people back home jumping in and messaging and calling. And so the diaspora can feel like they can never be online. So a lot of them, what they do is, if there's a feature, a privacy feature, that they can turn their status as online off, then they'll do that. Some of them will also turn off their, like read. So like the blue ticks, they'll turn them off. Those are one of the annoying things is like you cannot have online privacy. The moment you get online and the people can see you online, they will jump in and start messaging you. I'm not saying messaging people is bad because that's part of communication. But as we go down this list, you also know why a lot of the people reach out, So that's the first one. They be online, just can't be online without getting bothered, And sometimes it doesn't matter what time it is. It could be like 2 or 3 in the morning in Africa. And it's during the day in whatever the person is, let's say in the United States or in the Europe, where you find there's 2 people who are up. It's like, are you just waiting or you get notification? How do you know I'm online, right? So that's the first one that they find really, really annoying. The other thing is Facebook friend requests. You will find that a lot of people in the diaspora, they ignore friend requests, especially from people from back home. And the reason why they ignore them, they'll just look at them, they'll just ignore. You may go to somebody's inbox where like their friend request usually shows up on Facebook, and you'll find like hundreds of unaccepted friend requests. And the reason for that is, part of it is because there could be other reasons, but part of it is the more you have people, as your friends who are in Africa, they have access to you. And if they have access to you, then the probability of people asking for money, asking for support, just skyrockets. It skyrockets. And so just people are like, nah, I'm just not going to accept. So you may find like they have like, maybe they are close family, like family, they accept those friend requests. But when it comes to like to friends they used to know, either in high school, in college, or in the university, or just from the village, they will say, no, they are not going to accept those. So they are kind of putting a shield, a digital shield, whereby not everybody can reach out to them. And also that also can prevent also those, if they are posting something, some people want to have a limit of who can see that. And if they put on only friends or people who are already friends, then at least they know it's only family who will see and not anybody else. So they start like some form of privacy also. So the less friend requests they accept, the better. And so you kind of have to be like super special for them actually to accept you. And this is, I'm not generalizing to everybody, but I'm saying majority of the people. When people come in here, at first they are like, oh yeah, I'll accept. But with the time, they realize what's going on, and then they also change. They don't accept friend requests anymore. So the other thing that they also hate is posting their lives abroad on Facebook or social media. Because a lot of times moving abroad is associated with a lot of success. And so every time somebody posts, like let's say like them driving a car, people think, oh man, he's rich. Or he posts in a house, maybe it's just a house party and they post, oh wow, he has a nice house. So the assumption is that person is really well off. And if they are well off, they can afford a car, they can afford a house. That means also, they can, they have extra cash, that, they can, that can be borrowed basically. And so people tend not to post on social media as much. And again, this is progressive and it changes from individual to individual. For content creators, that's different because they do have to post and they want more people to see their content. So that's different. But just for a regular person who's just living their life, they will limit their posting. And if they'll post something, it'll be something that you cannot really tell what their life is. It's like abroad. So they are just trying not to send a message that is not there. They don't want people to give people a reason either to speculate, where they are at in life, to speculate how wealthy they are, to speculate how much money they may own, right? How much of success they have. So it's just to limit that. But also, again, as I said in one of the videos, not everybody is happy about those people who travel. Maybe they once were together in the same class, they were once together in the same church, and this person travels abroad. It's not everybody who will be happy that you traveled. Because again, as I said, traveling outside of your country is associated with success. And so that's why some people won't be happy, genuinely happy for you, but not everybody will be happy for you that you are mending that leap of traveling abroad, because that could mean, again, in quotes, that you are succeeding ahead of them, right? So because of that, there can be some sort of jealous. And when it comes to jealousy, then even malicious things can happen, like witchcraft, as I mentioned. And these things are real, they happen. So they once people come to abroad, after the first year, 2 years, they start limiting how much they post. And now people who have been here for more, even like 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, some 20 years, even those, they are even also very hard to find out what they are going on. You can't just go to their social media and discover what their lives are like, because they have limited that access. So that's something else that the diaspora people hate, but they will not say it. And because they cannot post because of the assumption, that's kind of like, like pain of some sort. It's like, where's my freedom? Why can't I post? And I'm be assumed to be this and also to be that. So they hate it. They may want to post, but they hate it that they cannot post. So that's number 3. Number 4, it will be let's see here. You may find a lot of the diaspora get a lot of requests through the messaging apps, through calls, if they have shared their numbers. And a lot of those calls is to be, hey, I have this need. I want to buy a land. I saw this good piece of land, 10 acres, and I would like you to send me money to buy it for myself. I want to be able to farm it and raise my family. I want to start this business to transport, let's say, mangoes, right, from Kitui to Nairobi, or mahindi from Kitale, to Nairobi. And so they'll be like, if you buy me you buy me this lorry or truck that is worth like 2 million, then I've helped my family a lot, because now I'll be able to build a business. So the person in diaspora is thinking, wow, like, you ask me to buy you a piece of land, 2 acres, 3 acres. While even the person in the diaspora doesn't have even a 1 acre of them for themselves. No, have they even bought for their family, right? So you get this ridiculous request that makes you wonder what kind of landowner you are, right? It makes you wonder, like, okay, how is this even person thinking that I can just give money out, right? And we'll see the reason why people just can't give him money out. Because if I can get ahead of myself, it's like, yes, people may have employment, and they get like a salary, they get paid, right? Better money than you can get paid in Kenya. But there are also so many more expenses here that you cannot avoid. And we will discuss those in later points here. So that's another thing that people in the diaspora hate, but a lot of times they may not tell you they hate it. When just a random person they used to know, just out of nowhere, make this ridiculous, extremely ridiculous requests that are laughable, actually. Laughable, but also it can be very annoying. And it's understandable, because a lot of times people back home, they are suffering. Majority of them may not be well off for different economic reasons, right? So when these people are making this request, they are genuinely want to see if this could be a way for them to be able to succeed, right, in their life and give their families a better life. So I do not blame any individual who makes that request, but I'm telling you what, on the diaspora side, what we are thinking, or what somebody's thinking in their head, right? So it becomes tricky for them, even when they see, and that's the part of now kind of starting to see, even why they will refuse to have like friendly requests on Facebook, to accept those, because that creates that a bigger pool of people making some ridiculous requests according to the diaspora. It may not be ridiculous for the person who is requesting, but it is ridiculous for the person in the diaspora. And that's just the reality of it. And even sometimes even the people back home, you guys never think, or it's like they never think about, if I, as me, a seeker, like where I'm at, all of a sudden just make a call and tell somebody back in Kenya, hey, can you buy me this piece of land, please? I really want it. Can you use your money to buy it for me? That person will be like, you are kidding me, right? Or even let's say somebody like in a village comes to you and tells you, I see that you are well off, better than I would like you to buy me this piece of land. That person will be like, what are you talking about, right? What are you talking about? So it's the same thing. Even people in the diaspora, they hate it. They hate when they get those requests. They'll be like, man, who do you think I am, right? The other things that also people hate in the diaspora, and this is point number 5, is investment partnering request. This is whereby an individual in Africa will think of an idea that to them is good. And they will reach out and say, hey, I have this great idea. Let's buy this piece of land and let's plant some crops, cash crops, that we can later on export those crops. Or let's build this house, a rental in this particular area where we for sure will get clients, right? And we'll make a lot of money. Or let's open a shop, right? So you have this request that to partner with somebody. A lot of the people in the diaspora, and this the truth is that for the few who have attempted to do that, to partner with the people back home, few of them have succeeded. And especially if the person in diaspora is not able to travel back home to check on those projects as often as possible. If they are not able to travel because of their jobs, or because they are in school, or because they are still working on their immigration status and they don't want to travel until the whole process is done, there's a ton of reasons why they cannot travel often. It's also very expensive. So a lot of times what happens is the person back home will say, the project is going well. And they'll even send videos, they'll even send photographs. And for the majority of the people, you'll find out that the project was not even real. The pictures they were sending, they were not real. The videos they were sending, they were not real. Either somebody was going to another construction site where it's taking place, and they will be taking videos and pictures of the different milestones and sending it back, saying how the project is going. But in reality, they are doing nothing. So you find those people, they use this money either to build their house, personal house, or to do their own stuff, completely different from what they were supposed to partner with. So the person who is in diaspora ends up being like screwed up, right? So they lose a lot of money. And because it takes so much work, it takes so much investment to be able to raise that money. Like you have to work maybe double shifts, 2 jobs, right? You have the individual in diaspora to sacrifice a lot, like to be able to send that money. And so when the chances of actually the other person being faithful are so limited, then it becomes really disappointing. It's like you can't trust nobody now, right? So that's something else that they hate. People reach out, let's partner, but we know like the biggest percentage of those projects, the person in the diaspora end up losing the money and never regains it back. The moment they find out that you found out, they always give a reason. Oh, if it was like a family, let's just say for a family member, right? You know, when you send the money, my daughter was going to school and she was sent home. I had to use some of the money to send them back to school, right? And if it's your siblings, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can really do. And so it becomes extremely difficult, right? It could even be whatever person you're partnering with, they'll give you an excuse. So like even if they say they hate the money, what are you, as a diasporian, what are you going to do, right? You're going to sue them? You could, but even the Kenya system is flawed, right? So it becomes extremely difficult. So the people in the diaspora will not want to partner with anybody. It's just what it is, right? They will not want to do that. They will not want to send money to just go invest in an area there they cannot account for it. They may agree on small projects that if they lose the money, it's not as painful. But for the big projects, no, they will not do it. So that's something that they hate. There is no that trust. They do not have the faith that they can trust an individual back home. And that's just the reality, you're right? The other thing the diaspora people hate is, and they don't say about it, is, let's say before they came to wherever they went to, right? And where they came from, let's say they were Nigerians or they were Ghanaians or they were Kenyans, Tanzanians, whatever they came from, obviously you have people you may consider as your friends and people you consider as not so your friends. Or maybe some of the people, they were like bullies, like they were bullying you in high school, right? Or in primary school, right? They were like bullies. They never wanted to see you. But now you have moved abroad, and like after a couple of years, it's like they completely forgot all the mistreatment, all the abuse that they inflicted on you. And then all of a sudden they are reaching out, brother, sister, right? It's like, how do you just switch from, like, you forgot every deed that you did to that individual, and now all of a sudden they're your brother and your sister, right? And I know as believers, as Christians, we are supposed to love, even to love our enemies. But that doesn't mean that this individual will not be annoyed the fact that you used to abuse them, and now you are here trying to be friendly because afterwards you want to ask something. You want to ask financial help, because a lot of times it's financial help. So it becomes like very, very extremely annoying. And the people in the diaspora, they come here and they kind of learn some form of courtesy. They may not call you straight up, but they may play it friendly. But that doesn't mean like you are their friends. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Are they holding grudge? Maybe. Maybe not. But they will just not at a point whereby they can trust you because of the history that you have. And I think that's pretty normal for every individual everywhere. But that's something. It's just, you just don't know, like, where did they get the courage from? This person used to do this to me, they used to abuse me, they used to bully me. How come all of a sudden now they are able, like, to, like, just to be now, oh, let's be friends, because now they can benefit, from my success in quotes, right? So that can be extremely annoying for them, and they hate it, but they will not tell you that. Some of them might, but in many of the times they will they will not tell you that. All right, let's see something else. What else do these people hate? They do hate, the people in the diaspora also hate the feeling of being financially reduced. What do I mean by that? It's like every call that comes through, either it's a call or a message, it starts from, sometimes it will start friendly. Oh, how are you doing? How is everything in Australia? How is everything in China? How is everything in here and there, right? But quickly that conversation turns into, hey, can you send me something small, right? It turns into money talk. Hey, send me those dollars. Yeah, when are you going to send me some dollars, man? We need some dollars, right? It turns really quick into money. It turns into money either in form of emergencies. And man, the emergencies never end. The emergencies never end. And there are emergencies of all kind. Either I'm totally sick, or it could be we don't have food. It could be I'm stranded. Like all kinds of emergencies. Like you'll be surprised what kind of emergencies that people will come up with. And then you wonder, like, is this truly an emergency? If I don't send this money, these people will die, right? Will die. And a lot of times it's really not an emergency, but they make it to be an emergency. There are cases that are emergency for sure. I'm not refusing that. But we just get so much of emergency request that it becomes extremely boring. It becomes extremely difficult to believe even when an actual emergency occurs. So I think it's wise to um, to reduce those kind of emergency requests. So when a real emergency comes, then at least people will know this person never asked for money. So when they say it's an emergency, it truly is an emergency, right? Not be that person who cries, woof, woof, woof. People come out and then they realize there's no wolf. Now the time that the wolf was that they cried wolf, nobody came out because nobody trusted them. Nobody believed them. And they were eaten, right? Don't be eaten. Oh. And when you hear these people, when they reach out, when they hear like, send me something small. That something small is never small. If you send somebody that says something small, you send them $10. You say like, you're in America, you're sending me $10. So you say something small. I send you $1 or $2 or $10. Now you are saying it's not that's small, but you asked for small, right? What do you want me to do? You asked for something small. I was generous enough to give you a 10. A 10 that you did not have. And then also the question comes like, when are we, the people in the diaspora, ever receive? We are constantly giving. And it's tricky, especially if you have a big friend groups. You used to have a big friend group. And you have a big family, right? Like relatives and all of that. What happens is this, and especially once you give once, you'll give again, because once you give once, those people will come back again at some point. They'll go around the circle and they'll come back and ask. So, you'll be like, this month you have given somebody, or maybe let's say like 3 people, right? They have come with a different request. They ask, they'll go. They'll stay maybe a month, 2 months without asking. By the time that they are gone, the other people who comes in and will be asking. And once they are given, they'll go. So by the time the whole nation you go through the whole nation, the one that you gave long time ago, now they are coming back now. It's kind of like a line. You are line here, and then just line goes like that, like that, like that. It comes back. And it never ends. So it's constantly throughout the years, right? So it can get very disappointing. If you say no, these people get frustrated. I never ask a lot. I only ask like once in 3 months. When what you don't know is like in those, like when you are on a break, other people are asking. So who never gets a break? The people in diaspora never get a break. So people in diaspora need a break, and they will need it so bad, right? They need it so bad. And these are things that happens again. People in diaspora will not tell you. They hate it, but they will not tell you. Part of it is because they just want to keep peace, right? So, and because of this, the people in the diaspora start putting boundaries. But even when they put the boundaries, those boundaries could be taken in a form of not accepting a friend request, looking at a message and not responding, or receiving a message and not responding, right? And not completely responding, because they know how this conversation will start, how it will end. Or even before they open, they already know what you're asking, and they know they don't have a capability, to meet that need. So they might choose to just be quiet. And that's it, right? So they build those boundaries to protect themselves. They really do. And when it comes like to even like when it comes like online life, right? It could be like, I've had experiences whereby I will post something, either a status on WhatsApp or on Facebook status, and immediately somebody will start calling. People just start calling. Why? Because now they know I posted. I must be online. I must be available right there, right there. I could post something while I'm at work, right? It only takes me to go to the bathroom and post, a picture quick and go back to work. But the moment you post, and that time take 5 minutes, you start getting calls. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Again, these are things that happens to the people in the diaspora that they hate, and they will not tell you. But I'm telling you today. I'm telling you today because I'm stepping into that space and to tell you, you can hate on me, but that's not gonna help because I'm telling you the truth. I think sometimes when you know the truth, that truth will set you free. You know you know the struggles that diaspora go through, and you'll be able to understand them. So even if they don't meet your needs immediately or at all, at least you know why they are that is happening. So because out of those, especially, they can feel used. That's what normally it feels. The people in the diaspora, they feel used. They are used as a lot of times as like an ATM, money ATM, and they don't like it. It's not a good feeling. So let's look at something else. There's the romanticization, if there's a word, for living abroad, because people, once you move abroad is associated with dollars. That's the first one, dollars. It could be maybe other currency, I don't know, pounds, euros, I don't know, rubies, name it. But moving abroad is always associated with the currency, whatever currency is. Majority of the people is the dollars. And it's also associated with success. So it's assumed the moment you step into the airport, get into that plane, and move, you are successful. Immediately, you are success. Your family is proud of you. Your nation is proud of you. Your village is proud of you, right? It's associated with success. It's also associated with luxury. You see, a lot of people move from Africa and come to the United States or other places, and within a year, they start driving. So there's that feeling of luxury. It's seen as luxury. But in the United States, other places, this is normal. It's normal because they do not have matatus or tuk-tuk or boda here. So even the buses are not reliable. You cannot use the buses reliably to get to job or from point A to point B. To get a job, it can take 2 hours for a place whereby you can take 25 minutes. That's how bad it is. And so the first thing that people, when coming to the United States, the first thing whether we tell them, they have to start learning how to drive. Because once you get here, you have to rely on people to drive you around, to shopping, to church, to work. And that is a strain to the people who are already here, who are diasporian, or even the Native Americans, or even the Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, Hispanics. If you rely on them, that's a burden to them because they too are places to go. So managing their problems and your problems, that's something they can undo. So the people in the diaspora, once they come here, when people come here from Africa, we try to get them to learn how to drive and show them the ropes on how to get the cheapest car possible so they can be more independent. So if you see somebody left whatever country they left in Africa and come to somewhere in the West, and within 6 months they start driving, and they will show up. I'm telling you, they'll send pictures. They'll even show videos. There's that little pride that I shared the other day. They'll show it. And back there, they reinforce the assumption that moving abroad is associated with success. But little do you know that even those people posting like that, the people in the diaspora, they are suffering. They are suffering because, I'm not saying that it's everybody, but everybody is working hard because there's just so much things to pay for. And so they don't have the luxury to just get enough sleep. They don't have a luxury to spend time with family. They don't have a luxury to make phone calls and be on a phone call for 2 hours. I heard people saying that people in diaspora like to call people back home and stay on the phone for 3 hours. I've not seen that. Personally, I will not have time to be on with somebody on the phone for more than an hour, unless they are willing to pay my bills. And I'm sure they will not pay my bills. So I'm living my life. I'm not gonna be on the phone with you for like 2 hours. I'm not gonna be on the phone with you for 1 hour. If you get my 30 minutes, appreciate. It's just how it is. Life it is. And if you think you can give somebody more than that, you come here. And then after 1 year, 2 years, you tell me, right? So those are the things. So it's associated with success. But the reality is, United States, you pay a lot of taxes. So every time you go buy something in a store, in a supermarket, in a mall, it will say is $15. The moment you go to check out, it will say $15 plus 15 cents taxes. An example. So literally the price tag on anything is never the amount that you go pay in the counter. It's always under taxes, right? So, and you get taxed almost in every stage you interact. I know manufacturers get taxed. We get taxed. Even when you get paid, taxes are deducted from your paycheck. And that money that has already been taxed, you still get it taxed again when you buy something. So you are taxed every day. And then when it comes to rent is so high that it's ridiculous. I mean, 1-bedroom apartment, you have to pay like $1,200 if you are lucky, right? So like the rent is so ridiculously high. That's when we are saying that even though an individual may be getting money, that money, the moment it gets into their pockets, it leaves. It leaves to pay for those rent, to pay for insurance, to pay for phone bills, to pay for just many things. If you are Christian, you have to take tithe out of that, offering out of that. And it's just so much to pay for. So the moment a lot of people's money come in, that money, like basically by the end of the week, they have no money. And now that with those expenses, it's additional to you, the people back home, requesting. You gotta pay for the employee that is taking care of the cows or the goats. You gotta, can you sponsor my child to go to school? Can you do this, do that? So then you find like somebody may be here, like I've been here for 10 years, but you ask that individual, okay, what have you done for yourself? They have not done anything for themselves. They want to, but it's difficult. And the factors is life is expensive in America. Also another factor is we get a lot of requests, money support. And, and that's why if you are, for the people who have, married, let's say an American or an Australian, and your family back home, and let's say a relative gets sick, right? To me, it's part of family you support, right? If you are dating an American or you're married to an American and you say, I'm sending money because so-and-so is sick and they need to go to the hospital, the first thing I ask is like, okay, why do you need to do that, right? They'd be like, why do you need to do that? Because they should have insurance. Yeah, so like they have insurance. I hope you people online can hear me well, because I'm suspicious my system may be acting up slightly. But I hope you guys can hear me well. So that becomes a challenge. So Sazigine, when people say, "Oh, I assume you are in a one man's land, you should have plenty," that's not the case. even Americans too, a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck, right? They are going through the same things we are going. I find a lot of Americans, white Americans, black Americans. To be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Hispanics, but those two groups, you find a lot of them on the streets begging, raising a sign like this, like, hey, I'm homeless, give me whatever change you have, it'll be helpful. So you'll find them. If I were to drive around with a camera on, I'll show you. You will find at least 10 of them just in the neighborhood here, right? Especially now you go to to downtown, then there are plenty of them there. So don't assume because we live among the white and the black Americans that means we have money. No. Even them, they have their own lives that they have to live. They have their families. So they're not just going to say, oh, you're from Africa? Here's $1,000 for you. It doesn't happen, people. It does not happen. So this is a difficult conversation. And I know that it's going out online. But if there are things you have to talk about, we can't be shy about it. We cannot be shy about it. Let's see something else. There's the other thing that the people in the diaspora that ate, but sometimes they may not tell you, is the pressure to perform, especially to perform success during visits. So let's say I visit in Kenya, right? I visit Kenya. I'm from Kenya. Once you get there, there's this notion that since you're coming abroad, you are loaded. You are loaded with money. You're loaded with dollars. So people see you as a sponsor, basically. You go to the market, in a restaurant, anybody who knows you, they want you to buy their food, to cover their food, their food bills. Pay for it. For your friends who organize trips will say, let's go to Masai Mara. Let's go for a Masai Mara tour for 2 days. They'll plan it, but they're not planning it with their money. They are planning it. You as a person who visited, you pay everything. If you don't pay everything, you're paying 80%, 85% of it. If they say, let's go out, let's go and eat something, they expect the person who just came from diaspora to pay for it. So you become a sponsor. It's okay, I love my money too. I mean, I love my money as well. I want to make good use of my money, not just to sponsor everybody. They want everything sponsored. So that's something that diaspora people don't like. And then, the other thing that they ate as well is part of this visiting back home is, it's everybody wants a gift. Give me something. Give me a gift. What did you bring me from America? And even people will be let's say even you choose to bring gifts. If you say, I'll buy gifts in Nairobi and take it to people would rather say, no, buy it in America and bring it. And if something that is you're buying in Nairobi might be of better quality. But people will be no, we want it from America. So people will be asking, what did you bring me? What did you bring? More gift. People want gifts, right? And the other thing is if there are little projects there at home, people will be this project has been stalled for quite some time. Now that you are here, we know this project will be done, right? So you have to fund that project. They want you to fund that project. They get it done. And part of it, especially people in the village or in your family, they want to show off because you are proud of the family. You are proud of the village. When you do stuff, now they can beat their chest and say, our son, our daughter finally has come home, right? So you kind of have forced, or you feel obliged to fund this project, right? Crazy. And obviously I've mentioned about kind of required to pay about everything. And these are some of the popular, some people may not experienced this. Maybe some people have not experienced this as diaspora, but I'm talking on behalf of the majority. Then this one is now kind of goes to the national level, and maybe I'll go. And I'll mention particularly for Kenya. I don't know if it's like this year or late last year. And I don't know if it was the Minister for Foreign Affairs, or it was like the Minister of Interior Affairs or whatever. There was a minister who deals with money, or like, I don't know, it was something. But they want to do analysis, and they were so proud. This is like the government of Kenya, the current administration. And they are so proud that the diaspora has contributed more to to the economy of Kenya than any other sector. Literally like than any other sector, than mining, than agriculture, than tourism. Like just remittance has contributed way more. I need water. Has contributed way more, excuse me, than any other sector. And got me thinking, now one of these people in the government, they are sending people to Dubai, to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, to these people, to these areas whereby our women in the African black women and men are being like abused, like under their employers. We have seen so many cases. Even some people are returned back home in coffins, like they are dead, unalived. So there's so much abuse, but the government of Kenya still is sending more people there. And when they are in trouble, I remember when there was Israel and was fighting in Lebanon, there were Kenyans who were stranded in that fighting. And that was a very bad fighting. But the government, I don't remember the government of Kenya doing something as urgently as other governments did. So there are Kenyans who are trapped there. And this is a common thing. You find that Kenyans get trapped somewhere and the government takes so long to respond. They don't protect the Kenyans. They don't protect the diaspora. But here they are so proud that the diasporas are contributing way more than any other sector in remittances. First of all, that is not even sustainable. And the government of Kenya should be ashamed of that. They should be ashamed of the fact that they think that the diaspora, that's the savior of the country. It is, because it's not. In fact, if the systems worked in Kenya, if system worked in these African nations, a lot of people in the diaspora will move back. Because there's something painful about the diaspora being separated from their families for so many years. Like you get to miss all your nephews, all your nieces, all your uncles, all your mom's, your siblings' birthday. You don't get to celebrate with them. Those milestones when the kids, like family milestones, you don't get to celebrate, right? But here you are, as a government, you don't want to make things better for the fellow Kenyans and for us, the diaspora. So if somebody feels called to move back and move back without the fear of struggling. But that's not the case. So I challenge, the government of Kenya, like you should be ashamed. That's what I would say. That you are proud that the diaspora is contributing more than any other sector. You know why we are contributing more? It's because you have made it so difficult for fellow Kenyans, our brothers and sisters, to earn any income. So now they have to rely on anybody who is outside. So that puts a lot of us strain on us. It puts us makes it difficult for the people in the diaspora to be able to sustain their lives or even to do projects. So it stalls them, it slows them down from becoming the people they want to become. So the government of Kenya, you need to do a better job. And not just the government in Kenya, Ugandan government, Tanzanian government, Nigerian, all African country governments, you need to do better. I know there are some nations that are doing slightly better, but you guys, you need to focus on improving the internal industry so it can generate employment, and so Kenyans can be employed, that Kenyans can generate. Because Kenyans, I'll talk about Kenyans, and even other nations, they are so hardworking. They are so hardworking to an extent that they are willing to do about anything, like, to get hired. And they're also very educated. Very educated. So, come on, you are letting us down. We need development. We need better governance. And that's one thing I'll put it on government, specifically the government of Kenya. You can do better. Instead of killing people on the streets, unaliving people on the streets, how about you do better, and create opportunities for the people? Guess what? When opportunities are created, there's less crime in the society. And that's why the other day I did an episode here about you go to Nairobi and there's no guarantee that you get out of Nairobi with your phone. And even you get out, you say, I have escaped, because people are snatching people's phones just so they can go sell it and buy food, sustain their families. Better economies reduce crime. I believe that, at least to a good extent. So some of these things people I see, police using a lot of force in the streets of Nairobi, even unaliving people with the live bullets. Those things couldn't end if the economies were good. And I mean, also that doesn't make sense that those crimes that those guys are committing should not be happening in the first place. Should not be happening. Because how can you just take somebody, unalive somebody's life, unalive somebody with no due process, right? So don't be proud that we are contributing more to the Kenyan economy through remittances. That's very annoying. It's very annoying for us. So stop it. Do better. That's what we will say on that one. The other thing that we hate, but we don't talk about, is that we get misunderstood on both sides. On both sides of being United States or whatever you are in the diaspora, and also being in Africa. When we are in the West or outside of Kenya, people they look at you and they will say you're African, you are a foreigner, you are different, you look different. And then even they'll go to an extent and ask you, when are you going back to Kenya? When are you going back to Nigeria? When are you going back to Ghana? When are you going back to Lesotho? When are you going back to South Africa? It's okay, so you don't feel like you belong. You can feel that way, you don't belong, because there's that pressure that comes in. But also when you go back home, there's also pressure. You also don't feel like you belong, because you go back home and the people are saying you have become so westernized, right? And even some people will go ahead and say you have even forgotten your language. Your Swahili is bad, or your Kinyarwanda is horrible, or your whatever language you speak, Lingala or whatever other language you speak, Hausa is horrible, So it's okay, I thought I'm coming on, but now all of a sudden I'm too westernized, right? Then people will say you have changed, you have changed. You are not the same person that we used to know. You have changed. And and even people will go and say, even to an extent of saying, you are not fully one of us anymore. You just not one of us. So as a diaspora, you're kind of somewhere. You don't feel accepted anywhere. You're just somewhere. And it's kind of it's a bad feeling. But we feel that way, but they will not tell you, But anyway, hopefully this is not coming out as negative. Choose to look at it in a positive way, that oh, so this is what is in the mind of these people. And once you have this knowledge, you can approach conversation difference. You can approach the diaspora with empathy and sympathy, right? You can be kind, right? Because again, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know. Don't assume people are having it good. But also there's a balance to the truth, is that also we as people in the diaspora, many people back home also silently, they also feel that now this kind of flipping the card, this is now flipping back, now flipping things to how the suffering that people in Africa or back home feel or suffer, and they maybe don't say it. I'll just briefly mention it. And I have three things here. So it's true too that many people back home that can also suffer silently. So silently they can feel like the diaspora looks down on them. So we people in the diaspora, the people back home, they can feel like we people in the diaspora can feel we are too powerful, we are too experienced, we have better status, and so as a result, we look down on them as either less inferior or like we basically kind of, there's a feeling that they feel that we treat them as they are lesser than us or we are more powerful. So there's that, and that's something for us diaspora to figure out. How do we humble ourselves also, not to inflict this kind of pain on them? And then also the people back home, they also sometimes feel like we as people in the diaspora exaggerate our hardship. It's like, you are in the United States, the land of the free. You are chasing the American dream. What do you mean hardship? So they can feel like we are exaggerating. How can you say you don't have dollars and you are in the land of dollars? How can you say that? You say like your rent is too high. You say your water bill is too high. Your electricity bill is too high. Petrol is too high. Your car repairs are too high. You guys exaggerating about the cost of living, or, so they can feel that way. They can feel like we are exaggerating our hardships. And the other one is sometimes people can also feel like the diaspora forgets home. Sometimes they can feel like they are forgotten. And especially since if we are not calling enough, if we are not writing enough, if we are just not reaching out in general, more often, people can feel forgotten. People can feel you don't care about them anymore. People can feel marginalized. And especially if you communicate on one side and there are some people that you don't communicate with them as much, you may not mean it. It may not be for a bad reason, but that's how people can feel. They can feel marginalized. So that's all I had for today. I hope this was fairly helpful. And I am curious what you think. Do you think you agree with, with what I, with what I listed, the things that I listed, or do you think that I am not being truthful? So I'm curious on that. Again, I hope that this live was going well because I literally did not monitor it. I don't know how the voices are. Hopefully the voice is good, but I guess we'll figure out once I'm done with this. But really, that's it for today. I will request that if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, Msafiri Podcast on YouTube. Also subscribe on subscribe or follow on Instagram. It's Msafiri Podcast. Also follow on Facebook. Same thing. Msafiri Podcast. And yeah, I wish you all the best. Let me know what you think again concerning this conversation in the comments. Like and share with the friends. And if you are a person in the diaspora and you have different experience than I do, also feel free to share that and let me know what are your experiences. Do you think I got majority of the points correct, or you think that there are areas that I could have, or there are things I could have mentioned, or there are things that I could have elaborated more? Yeah, let me know, people. All right, that is it for now. I don't know if there are any people who have questions. All right, let's see here. Joseph anasema, kaka na kuelewa sana na kuombea Mungu awe mlinzi na akupe kila hitaji lako. Moyo wako kwa upendo unauona, haijalishi nini kinasemwa juu yako. Huyu ni Joseph Zuki. Asante sana Joseph. And then we have also Lewis Mutua Mwanzia anasema Randa. Hakuna kutuma pesa hata kama ni emergency. All right. Lewis amesema Mutua hakuna kutuma pesa hata kama ni emergency. I could agree with you more. Definitely true. But this life will live together pamoja. Na itabidi, we understand each other, right? Like tunaelewana. And I think the moment we started having these conversations, genuinely having these conversations, that's how we'll be able to grow. The more we keep silence about these things, itakuwa tu inauma, right? Itakuwa tu inauma. But once we speak about these things, then it's a problem I have solved. Utakuwa naweza kunielewa, I can understand you. Unaweza nielewa. You can understand where I'm coming from. I can understand where you are coming from. So these are the conversations that we need to have. And badala ya kuiona as an attack on individual or individuals, let's see it as a way of starting a conversation so we can have a balance and we can have understanding of what everybody is going through, and also both in the people in the diaspora and the people back home. So thank you for those who have given feedback, and we will see you guys again in the next live. Probably I may come live again this weekend. If not, then it will be next week. So for now, to all of you, I wish you a good night. To those who are going to sleep, or those who are already in bed, good night sleep. And to those who are still during the day, I wish you a happy afternoon, good morning, or good evening. So for now, that's it. God bless you. God bless Msafiri Podcast, where we speak all things diaspora. All right, bye for now.